Oh, man. I just was like 18 minutes in. I was on a roll because I had tea at dinner, so I think I'm caffeinated. Where's my glasses? But it stopped. It said it didn't have storage, and I realized last night's video, it's the 18th, by the way, September 18th, 2025, was still in the recently deleted, and I have to like delete the recently deleted, so I forgot. So that got stopped, and I don't want to edit any of these, so I'm starting over. I was on a roll. I was really interesting because of caffeine. Here's the first interesting thing: nasal spray. It gets dry here. Sorry, this is just reality. But I tend to be a very mucusy person, unfortunately. And my nose was so dry, I just couldn't even breathe hardly. But I was doing funny stuff. Like I took I had my vitamin box out here, and I was like, "Hey, I didn't see you there." Like kind of like the sitcom intro. And let's see what I talk about. Like funny stuff at the library. Scared a librarian. I was talking about smiling, practicing smiling. My dad used to practice smiling, and he said I should do it. And I sometimes on these videos, since I don't look at myself very often, I realize that I just kind of have a look a lot, so I do try to smile. Try to make sure I smile. And you got to get I was saying you got to get your eyes into it, otherwise it looks like a weird, creepy smile. Like, okay, so like if you're just like that and you smile. Hello. What do you mean my smile looks weird? My smile's not weird, it's totally normal. See, so you gotta get your eyes into it. But that voice like scares Nikki. So she doesn't want me to talk like this. Good night. I was talking about how I scared a librarian yesterday because I was looking for a book. But it was in the basement back in the stacks where I guess people don't go a whole lot or something. And she was shoving books, and she was like, "Ah!" when I just walked by. So I guess I'm scary. I don't know. I got on some interesting topic. I got on the topic. I was talking about World War II. I was talking about like technology. What was I? I don't remember how I got there, but before that I was talking about intergenerational trauma. I was looking up on the library catalog for a book on that, and not a specific book, but just books that they didn't really have any hard copies of anything on it. Like all the search results are coming back saying there is online resources, and they got like 1.4 million books. So it's kind of shocking, but I think the demand for physical books is not what it used to be. I love a physical book. It's so much better. You can annotate it, like if you own it. And I've had before where I had books I was borrowing, and I would just print out. I would copy. I mean, on a copy machine, the pages I was reading, and then I could annotate the crap out of it. And like flag it, put little sticker flags, and that makes it so much easier to reference later. But And I think maybe that's how I got on technology. Oh, I was talking about the intergenerational trauma thing. I was like, I didn't mean like, I wasn't looking just for stuff about like people that are, I was specifically looking for like the genetic trauma at the genetic level. Like I've heard they did an experiment on mice where like the one generation was exposed to a certain scent or something, and then they'd experience pain or something like that, and then like 2 generations later, like their grandchildren mice or whatever, when they were exposed to the smell, they'd get the same reaction, like they were going to experience pain, even though they never had been exposed to either the smell or the pain. So it's like I was saying, now it's coming back to me, I was saying that doesn't surprise me, because like so much stuff is passed down genetically. You know, it's like the very nuanced stuff, like the way people stand or walk or talk, or just little stuff. And so that doesn't surprise me. But I was talking about how it's like science just finally caught up. It's like there's stuff like that a lot where it's science. It's like, well, there's this thing called scientism where people have a blind faith in science, and I think that there's a lot of that, especially with medical science. It's like almost anything traditional is considered invalid, and it's like, no, there's a reason a lot of these things were passed down, and that reason is probably because they worked. And you know, and the science starts to figure that out with holistic, healthy stuff. It's like, oh yeah, it does take care of this and that. It's like, yeah, no joke. That's why everyone was doing it. Why'd you act like it was like voodoo medicine man stuff? Like, it's like I heard Jordan Peterson, I've heard him say, it's really hard to think scientifically. Not just anyone can do it. It's really difficult. It's like, yeah, so you and your ivory tower friends can gatekeep all, you can be the only ones that can draw any conclusions about anything in life. It's like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but science is as simple as Cro-Magnon man finding a walnut and deciding to see if something's in it, and so smacking it on a rock or hitting it with a rock, and it opens. It's like the hypothesis is there's food in there. Maybe there might be something in there I'd like, and if I hit it with a rock, it might open. I might be able to get it. The experiment, hit it, it opens. I get it. The conclusion is, yeah, that does work, and there is food. It's like, you know, and if people like him, I think, would be like, it's trivial and meaningless, but it's like, that's not trivial. That that information passed down, fed uncountable people and nourished them, and it was that experiment was repeated for, you know, tens of thousands of years or whatever it is. So it's like, I just don't buy that stuff. You know, it's like, yeah, I understand rigorous scientific experimentation to some extent. I understand it, large sample sizes and trying to have control groups and stuff, but it's like, in some ways it makes it fragile, because you're trying to control everything. It's not rooted in reality, where there's countless variables, you know, and there's crap, you know, they mess up, like antidepressants. Now we know they don't work and they cause horrible side effects. It's like, well, great, you gave them to all these people all these years. Good job, losers. Or the food pyramid, it turns out is all bull crap. And that was just, I don't even know that you call that just a failure of science as much as, like, from what I understand, that guy was just a total shyster. I mean, evil. That's a great evil that was done. But I don't know. After that, I was talking about like technology. Oh yeah, I remember now. I was talking about that made me think of the movie Jurassic Park, and where the mathematician character in that movie, Jeff Bridges. I can't think of his name. The darker complected guy. He said, when he was talking about the Jurassic Park he says, like, when your scientists were thinking about if they could do this, maybe they should have stopped to think if they should. And I think that's a lot of the problem with science. Like, people that are, like, science-minded, like, I think they're obsessed with what could be rather than what should be. And so, like, you end up with AI. You know, it's like, I think I heard Elon Musk at some point basically saying, well, before it was where it's at now, he was like, well, basically, like, it's going to happen, and pretty much everyone will be unemployed. You know, and everyone will have to rely on some kind of universal basic income, probably. He's like, he even said, he's like, I'm not saying that's what should happen or what I want to happen, but that's what's going to happen. It's like Pandora's box. You know, once you get it out there, what can you do? It's like, and then I was thinking about the nuclear technology. It's out there, and it has, the nuclear power is amazing. It's clean, practically perfectly clean and efficient, and it's perfect almost. Of course, if you have a meltdown, you got a problem. And then also it can be weaponized, as we know. And AI is just so powerful. I think they recognized, of course, that the nuclear reaction was incredibly powerful. Maybe they didn't fully recognize until after they dropped those bombs, but the AI, I don't know that anyone recognizes how powerful it is. It's like, it's just going to replace so many jobs. I don't see how that can be avoided. I was listening to something, I can't remember what it was, and they were saying that basically it could eliminate the need for a lot of lawyers. Like, you could have the AI could review documents, you know, just, and you'd have maybe one lawyer doing the work of 5 with the help of AI or more. I don't know. And then you combine that with robotics and stuff. It's like, even I think it was it DoorDash or Amazon? I think it might have been DoorDash. I'll have to look it up. But in some area, they were delivering with automated vehicles, and I know the flying drones delivery. I think Walmart or Amazon has already done that. I've seen that on the internet. It'll just come drop it in people's yards. It's just insane. It's like, so like, I deliver DoorDash. It's like, that's probably going to become just these robotic vehicles doing it. And yeah, I mean, AI writes software code. Code writes code. All those guys, what are they going to do? It's kind of weird. I think a lot of what it does too is it stops people from thinking. I use it, I get, like, in Google searches, I'll oftentimes go ahead and look at, like, if it's not something very serious, I'll just be like, what does it say on the AI search, you know? Like, if I think it thinks one thing and then it pulls up an AI confirms, I'll be like, okay, I was thinking right. But, you know, that's probably a big mistake. I think it tells you what to type on emails or texts or whatever. It's like, people can't even think of what the hell to say. At some point, that's what there was. People already, I think, were horrible at communication. A lot of people, in my experience. And you add that to it. Can you imagine people like that? They won't even want to bother to talk to anyone. It's kind of wild. I mean, it's just a tool, like the combine or cotton gin, was it, that eliminated most workers, farm workers. and people moved on to other work, but maybe this will be like that. But do we really understand the impact of what the Industrial Revolution did? The farm machinery and stuff. How much worse off potentially are we in different ways? And what in the world is AI gonna do to us? It's like, it's hard to believe in the rate at which it has evolved or whatever. I think somebody's alarm is going off way over there. But yeah, I don't know what we'll do. And I don't like universal basic income, because it's like, if the government is just paying you for existing, it seems like they could easily become pretty comfortable with putting a lot of constraints on you, because if they can pay you for existing, they can decide how you should exist at a very great level of detail, and would probably end up taking a great interest in that. Or the AI that is in charge of it might. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe it won't be a big deal. I don't know. I hope not. But the nuclear weapon thing got me thinking of World War II. The discovery of nuclear reaction, and like the scale of World War II was just more massive than the vast majority of people realize. I don't think the vast majority of people know hardly anything about it. And I grew up kind of obsessing over it. My grandfather was a World War II war correspondent, and I just loved all things military as a kid. And I would read about it. I was General MacArthur for Halloween one year, and I took a World War II history class in college even, and I think what that taught me more than anything was like, there's more about World War II than I'd ever be able to learn. It was just such a vast, massive, like everywhere in the world, it reshaped the whole world. It was just, it's kind of just shocking, the magnitude of that war. And then of course the nuclear discovery, that changed the world drastically. But I think it's important to think about these things, before we make the next technological advancement. We should probably think about, should we make it, and rather than could we. There's so many things like that. And I know I've talked about this before, but it bears repeating in my opinion. There's cell phones. You can't have a clear conversation. Consistently, at least. And I just think back to hard phone lines, not even digital. Especially really not digital, because those had problems. It was crystal clear. Phone conversations in the 80s were like better, so much better than phone conversations now. Like it was like exponentially better. It's hard to even get a younger person to understand it. But I think with the tech type guys, I don't think they really want to talk that much for the most part. I think, and I've learned this in recent years, that there's people that think visually and there's people that think in words. And that was a shock to me. And I think autistic people a lot think in pictures. I'm not saying that's always the case, but I've always thought mostly in words. And I of course can and do think in pictures, but it is not natural for me, so like, I think these tech guys probably don't want to talk. They probably just want to deal with images and symbols, like math. You know, mathematics is very visual and symbol based, and I don't know, because it seems like people don't care enough about what we're losing with the advancements of technology. And it just makes me feel like there's people that are behind this that are kind of like don't have humanity's best interests at heart necessarily, or not all of humanity, maybe. Like, I just think about like a car. Like, my first car was a Chevy Sprint. It was 3-cylinder engine, very weak engine, but amazing gas mileage. And it was a stick shift, 5-speed, manual transmission. It was so basic. There was nothing fancy about it. And when you drove that kind of car, just as like a lot of other old cars, it was you and the machine. You kind of connected and learned the machine, especially with the manual, and especially back then. I think it's like you felt that how it worked, and the best times to shift for fuel efficiency or for acceleration, and it's like you were connected to it. And I think that the tech type people maybe never felt that or something. Like they maybe had a disconnect for that. And so to them, just switching to digital, or not digital, like automatic transmissions and all the automated crapola on the cars now, to them was the same difference. Because that's how I describe it. Like, this car like brakes for me when I get too close to another car, which I guess that's a cool fail-safe, and it'll keep me in a lane, but like, I feel so disconnected from the vehicle. It is nothing like when I was first driving. Like, so kids that learn now, I don't even know what to think of that. Like, do they even really know how to drive really in the way that I know it? It's I was talking to Nikki's grandfather before he died. He was saying on one of his first cars, or maybe his very first car, the wiper blade was manual. Like, you'd reach up here. Can you imagine? And I think that those even had to crank to start it. You know, it's like, the more we get removed from stuff, it's like, I feel like the less human we get or something, you know. Like, driving down the road now it's like you're not as alive. It's like I'm not as alive as I was driving down the road back in the 80s or 90s. It's like I'm like removed from the experience a bit. That's what I feel like technology does, essentially, is it removes people, like, by degrees, or, you know. Well, like, think about all the virtual stuff. Like my sons, or at least one of them, and I'm pretty sure both of them, hang out on Discord with their friends, and it's like everybody's just, I mean, nobody's really with each other, but they're hanging out digitally or whatever. And I guess that's cool, but it's like, I don't know. It just seems weird to me. And it's cool. I've done that. I've enjoyed Discord. I just couldn't really get anybody to want to be on Discords with me. I would try to get on there and have people watch stuff with me, and I like the idea, but it's like it's not the same as hanging out with people or going bowling with people or something like that. It's weird. So the caffeine might be wearing off. I did a strength and conditioning session today. Because I did my long run yesterday, so I like to... No, day before yesterday. So I like to have 2 non-running days after a long run. I'm slowly acclimating to the altitude. My watch knows that, and I believe that it probably does somewhat pretty accurately. And so I figure like tomorrow is a run day. I'm not really on a training plan. I should be, but I'm kind of just making it up as I go. And the like I was 82% acclimated to the altitude this morning. So I figured if I ran today, maybe I would have just taken the amount of time that I was gonna run and then multiply it by 0.82. I thought that might be a reasonable adjustment. So we'll see. It might be like 84 tomorrow or something, as long as nothing goes wrong in the night with my heart rate variability or my sleep quality. But so tomorrow I'll hopefully be able to do a bit of a run, and then get some work done. We had not a very good dashing day. We did not make as much as we normally would have, so it was just a bad day. But we did our thing where we cooked our breakfast and lunch, and then we ate McDonald's for dinner, and that allowed us to charge our EcoFlow and fan there, and that was cool. What else? Oh, I'm still like writing and reading on this idea of time, because like that book I was trying to find on intergenerational trauma, well, that's related to time, clearly. And so I'm really kind of getting into this. Like I feel ever since we went to Kansas City and then came back, like I've talked about that, it's kind of like our world was kind of stirred up quite a bit. But ever since then, I've kind of been just kind of feel like I'm in the current. I'm just kind of like going around with the currents in the river, and I'm not as focused. I'm not as directed, but I'm also more open-minded. Like before, I was like blog a day, and it wasn't really super high quality in my opinion, but I was just doing it. And now I'm more like kind of like, what do I think about this? I'm just kind of letting thoughts bubble up and percolate up, and it's turning out, it's producing some interesting stuff I didn't expect to produce in my writing. And I'm hoping tomorrow I can find a book or a journal article on that intergenerational trauma, but maybe I won't be able to. So we'll see. At some point I probably need to try to just pull the trigger and finish that article or whatever I'm going to call it. And like that, I was reading a book about time, and the guy was like serious studier of time, I forgot to look up his creds, but like he'd been studying it for like a couple decades. So it's like he's taking that long to write about it. Maybe I can take longer, but I don't want to specialize in just that. But I think it is a huge deal. I think the concept of time is something that's so taken for granted and just kind of like, oh, whatever, it is what it is. Oh, you use a calendar. I mean, whatever, just do what you do. Do what you can do. It's like, no, there's more to it than that. There's something else there. And I think there's a lot more there. And I think it's what's there is probably like, I don't know enough words, but it's very foundational stuff probably. And I've learned from the little bit that I've read that it is kind of a bit like it's what we think is given for how we perceive time was not always the case for most of history. Like uniform fungible minutes. That's a newer thing. And the clock, the consistent time, like from the clocks as we know them, that wasn't a thing, you know. So it's like time has drastically changed how we view it and use it. And it has broadly or greatly, significantly shaped our culture, and not necessarily all for the better. There's an example of technology changing things. That there's a mechanism of the clock. I don't know the name. I read about it in the book, but most people don't know about it. The guy was saying it, and it was developed in like the late 1200s. But it like made like the clocks all able to run uniformly or something like it. And so it was like consistent, 60-second minutes and stuff, and that had never been the case. Of course, there had been sundials and things like that, but this was a big deal. And so yeah, I'm just it's kind of like mind expanding stuff. I'm just kind of like, whoa, what else? Because it makes you think differently about goals, like in what time frame do I want to reach certain goals, and it's like it kind of expands the mind beyond just checklists, daily checklists, and I think there is a place for that, like this Newtonian or fungible time, like that's the world we're in the West at least, probably in the whole world by now. You're bound to these things, and there are things that it's good to I feel like that kind of time, like fungible time, is kind of compresses things, and it puts a stress and a strain that isn't naturally there probably. But sometimes you can use that to your advantage, to get a lot done in a short time that is good to get done in a short time, maybe. And so I'm trying to be open-minded, think, how can I think in all these different ways about time and use that? And my ideas are really low resolution, and I'm not really even understanding them all yet. So I'll continue to work with it and wrestle with it. But that's kind of how I've been thinking, but it kind of sets you free a little bit, like with door dashing. I don't necessarily just think, well, I need to get X orders, or I need to work X hours, or I need to make X dollars, because I find you kind of end up treating people bad. People just become tools and objects. I think I was saying this yesterday. It's like if you want to be a good person, or especially as someone that's trying to be like Christ, you probably should make sure you're aware, okay, the overarching goal here is to be like good, to be like Christ, not to get a certain amount of things done in a certain amount of time. It changes. You're going to miss opportunities, and that you're going to look at people wrong as interruptions and stuff, and that's not how you reach people and how you build. It's like people are everything, in my opinion, because they're eternal. They contain infinite value. So any interaction with a person is just, you can make it, you can significantly change their day or their week or whatever, for the better or the worse. You never know where someone's at, So Anyway, I guess I'll stop. I'm tired. Sorry, I'm kind of scatterbrained. I don't use my notes anymore. I just don't do that. And I'm starting to forget what I said in the first video that I scuttled, and what I said in this one. But thank you for watching. Before the ending of the day, Creator of the world, we pray that with thy wonted favor thou wouldst be our guard and keeper now. From all ill dreams, defend our eyes from nightly fears and fantasies. Tread underfoot our ghostly foe, that no pollution we may know. Father, that we ask be done through Jesus Christ, thine only Son, whom with the Holy Ghost in thee doth live and reign eternally. That's from the Compline prayer. But, in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Thank you guys for watching. You be blessed and have a good sleep. All right.